Alright people, welcome back. Good to have you. Got our work cut out for us today. This is going to be kind of a long one. We're going to go meet Mercer Frey at the Snow Veil Sanctum. In the last one, we delivered this amulet that we got from this Armand Motier character to Delvin Mallory to fund our assassination plots, as we're going to carry them out. And we also gave this letter from Mr. Motier to Astrid, which basically detailed this long drawn-out plan to eventually get the Emperor himself to come to Skyrim so we can assassinate him. So he's the final target. That's the whole idea. And the first order of business was to go assassinate the Emperor's cousin, who had just gotten married, so it was kind of messed up. But she's essentially a symbol of the Empire, and then her groom was a symbol of the Stormcloaks in some way, shape, or form. And so it would look, I guess we did all that to make it look like, you know, Stormcloak Empire uprising type of thing. And then our next order of business is to go and deal with the security detail for the Emperor, should he come to Skyrim himself, which is the whole idea. We're trying to draw him here to come clean up all this mess with his dead cousin stuff. And so what we're going to do is we're going to fake a foiled assassination plot by implicating the guard captain's son, and then taking care of the son and making it look like some do-gooder got in the way of, you know, an assassination attempt on the Emperor to give him a false sense of security and stuff. I mean, it's all very slick. There's a lot of espionage and intrigue here, so I mean, I guess it's really cool the way they plotted all this out. But I'll tell you what, messing with the guard captain's son and not the guard captain himself, that might come back to bite us in the butt. I don't think he's going to appreciate that very much. All right. So anyway. Alright, so that's the Dark Brotherhood side, but having gone and dealt with Delvin Mallory and having gone and taken care of that first assassination, I thought we'd get back to the Thieves Guild business and go meet Mercer Frey here at Snow Veil Sanctum and go look into this Karliah person. Who, I mean, if if you're familiar with this already, which a lot of you watching probably are, you already know the whole Thieves Guild storyline as it plays out. And there's a lot of intrigue in this, too. It's really well written, in my opinion. I really like it. But essentially what Karliah did, the gist of it, just to make it simple, is she went and bought out Golden Glow Estate, which was this bee farm, right? Produces honey, right? For the Blackbriar Meadery specifically in Riften. She went and bought it out from under Maven Blackbriar, who didn't essentially own the place, but she ran it. You know, she had the owner there under grips, and by means of the Thieves Guild. The Thieves Guild was responsible for keeping him in line, keeping the honey flowing. They got a cut of, other stuff dealing with the estate. And anyway, it was a mutual arrangement between all the parties. I'm sure the owner of Golden Glow getting the short end of that stick. Well, Karliah went in there and took advantage of that and bought the estate out from under everybody to drive a wedge between Maven and the guild. But specifically, she seemed to be targeting Mercer Frey himself. We'll find out why. Okay, so we're going to go meet Mercer here, who's tracked this Karliah person based on something she said. And I think it was meant to reach Mercer Frey's ears on the cool, and it was basically where the end began or something like that. So this Snow Veil Sanctum plays a big part in their history with Karliah, Mercer Frey, and what have you. We'll find out all about that, too. But anyway, that's just to catch up to where we're at here. Kind of going back and forth between Dark Brotherhood and Thieves Guild stuff. Because right here, they're kind of crossing paths anyway. Like Astrid sent us to Delvin Mallory. We do even get to ask Mercer Frey here in a minute when we actually meet him, what's up with this whole, taking care of our own murders, isn't that what the Dark Brotherhood is for? And he's like, well, we have a long-standing arrangement. And we'll see when we get to the dialogue, but... we do ask him about that. Why are we carrying out our own killings? We're thieves. Leave that to the murderers. And he's like, no, we can take care of our own business. And so the connection there between the Brotherhood and the Thieves Guild, and both of them being in dire straits. The Brotherhood being a shadow of what it was. It's really not even the Brotherhood. It's Astrid's personal little band of cutthroats that she can lord it over so she can feel like she's running something. And then you have the Thieves Guild, which has just been decimated. It's broke, essentially. No one respects it. No one cares. It has no real place or standing here. Not like the legendary epic Thieves Guild that we're used to, that we would have seen in Oblivion, right? It's fallen on really, really hard times. And all that plays in the story here, though. All the intrigue you have with the Dark Brotherhood goings-on are also evident in the Thieves Guild, too. And they do seem to cross over a bit, and I think that's why I probably like these two storylines the most, is because they remind me a bit of the way they wrote the storylines in Oblivion also. where everything kind of, oh shit, I didn't mean to do that. All right, I need to heal up. Everything kind of just crosses over. Sometimes a particular NPC or character in the game will be a part of several different storylines, and you know, one thing will send you to the other place. Like in this, if you weren't already part of the Thieves Guild, then carrying out that thing for Astrid would have required you to join the Thieves Guild, essentially, so you can get down into the Ratway and actually talk to Delvin Mallory. And then we'll also see in the Thieves Guild, they're going to send us to the College of Winterhold, where we at least access it. We don't have to join, you know. I think in the case of the Dark Brotherhood, though, you at least have to get down into the Ratway. You have to at least get the initiation thing out of the way, where, you know, you do the reverse pickpocketing for Brynjolf up there in the market. You know, I think you at least have to do that. I don't know that you can just walk down in the Ratway free and clear and just go talk to Delvin. Maybe. You might be able to just get in there and go down to the Ragged Flagon yourself and just be completely out of place. Maybe so. I've never done it in that order, so I don't know if you can get in there and talk to any of the Thieves Guild members without being part of the guild. I'm thinking maybe so. You know, I don't think Bethesda's going to corner you and force you to do one thing or another. They're really big about player choice, so with that in mind, yeah, probably you could go talk to Delvin anyway. But, you know, I mean, why wouldn't you join the Thieves Guild once you have the opportunity? It's an amazing quest line, and it's a big part of the story. You know, just like the companions, if you take the trip from Riverwood to Whiterun, most likely you're going to go there by the Hunting Brew Meadery, and you're going to see the companions fighting a giant. So you go investigate, maybe help out a little bit, put in a few punches on the giant yourself, and then you get to talk to some of the companion members, and they give you the option to join. And if you don't happen to run across that little event happening, then as soon as you walk into Whiterun, you can talk to the blacksmith lady there up front, and she'll give you some of the goings on. She'll let you know that her dad is you know, like the counselor guy for the Jarl, and she'll let you know of course, about her shop, you know, that she's a blacksmith, blah blah blah. She does the best she can. She just wants to make a living, type of thing. And she'll even send you to the companions if you go through her dialogue. So everything, you know, it'll kind of cross over and at least give you an opportunity to explore all the different things in the game. I think that's really cool. Oblivion was like that too. You would naturally come across a lot of different things to give you opportunities to join the Mages College, to join the Thieves Guild. You might have a random person come up, or you read a wanted poster, and it lets you know that you have to go to some secret midnight meeting, you know, if you go talk to the beggars in town and stuff, to go eventually meet this mysterious guy who recruits for the Thieves Guild. I mean, it was all very cool, and everything kind of led to another. Some of the quests would come find you, like the Dark Brotherhood, if I remember right, in Oblivion. Basically, if you murdered anybody, they would take notice, and then LeChance would appear out of nowhere. He would come bother you. He'd like wake you up in the middle of the night, type of thing, and be at your bedside, all very creepy and shit, with his ominous horror movie voice, and invite you to join, type of thing. And you know, that was really cool. Anyway, so different, but some of the similarities are there. All right, so here's Mercer. We finally made it up here past all the wildlife and wisp mothers and stuff.
Good. You're finally here. I've scouted the ruins, and I'm certain Karliah is still inside. No, I found her horse. Don't worry, I've taken care of it. She won't be using it to escape. Let's get moving. I want to catch her inside while she's distracted. Take the lead. I'm sorry, I was under the impression I was in charge. You're leading and I'm following. Does that seem clear to you? Just make certain you keep your eyes open. Karliah is as sharp as a blade. The last thing I need is you blundering into a trap and warning her that we're here. I have a long-standing arrangement with the Dark Brotherhood. If I need someone in the guild taken care of, we do it ourselves. We both agree it's best to keep these matters in-house. She was a stubborn Dunmer. Always had to do everything her way. But she was also the best, bringing in more coin a month than some thieves heist in a year. Gallus trusted her too much and let her get too close. If you want to call it that, yes. Me? I think she was softening him for the kill. Gallus would call her his little nightingale. He was absolutely smitten by her. Greed? Jealousy? Spite? Who can say what drove her to such an iniquitous act? One thing's certain, I intend to find out before she draws her last breath. 25 years ago, I was standing outside these very same ruins. Gallus told me to meet here, but he wouldn't say why. When I arrived, Gallus stepped from the shadows. Before he uttered a sound, an arrow pierced his throat. Before I could even draw my blade, her second arrow found its mark in my chest. Karliah was a master marksman, and her greatest weapon was the element of surprise. I was lucky. She missed my heart by mere inches. I staggered away from the ruins, and my vision began to blur. It's then that I realized the bitch had poisoned her arrows. The last thing I saw was Karliah dumping his body into an opening atop the ruins. An unceremonious end for a remarkable man. To this day, I've regretted allowing her to escape, even if it meant I had died trying. I owed Gallus that much. The guild was thrown into disarray. Several stepped up and tried to claim Gallus's former position as guildmaster. Sides quickly formed behind these men, and the Ratway became a bloodbath. I saw what they did to Gallus. I wanted to use the guild's resources to hunt down Karliah. The others didn't even care he was gone. Fortunately, I persevered, and the other groups were either killed or they left Skyrim. The infighting had taken months to subside, which gave her time to go into hiding and carefully cover her tracks. I spent thousands of septum and used every contact at my disposal. But it was as if she had simply vanished. Like I said before, she was the best. You see Karliah, don't hesitate. Kill her.
Alright, so there's a good amount of background there. Sometimes it's really worth talking to these NPCs, even if it is a dick like Mercer. He's like, well, I was under the impression I'm in charge. Okay, well, I was under the impression you're a dick, dude. I really don't like this guy. For a lot of reasons, and I don't really have many reasons except for he's just obnoxious and abrasive, but we're going to get some real reasons to hate this guy. That's for sure. Alright, so that was his side of the events. We'll find out what really went down later. First, if you just get down here and unlock this door.
They say that these ancient Nordic burial mounds are sometimes impenetrable. This one doesn't look too difficult. Quite simple, really. I don't know what the fuss is about these locks. All it takes is a bit of know-how and a lot of skill. That should do it. After you.
Once we find out how he's opening all these locks later, it really sheds a light on
better be important.
Just who and what he is, and that he's taking credit as having all this skill to unlock these doors. And that's just pathetic. You'll see the loserdom that this dude dwells in when we find out exactly how he's opening all these locks and stuff.
Stench in here.
But I'll tell you what, if Karliah got in ahead of us, she really does have some skills, okay? She doesn't need cheap tactics to open this stuff and get in. She's master thief. Karliah's actually really cool. She's really, really cool. This old leader of the Thieves Guild, he comes across as being something of a, I don't know, like a swashbuckler. That's how I envision him when you learn about him and when you hear, well, everyone but Mercer. Well, even Mercer still talks about him with some means of respect, right? But he comes across as, I don't know, like this Errol Flynn type character, very suave and debonair, and you know, can't be trusted, but still has honor among thieves. You know, just that type of, just a rogue. I don't know. He just seems really, really cool. Definitely a friend to his friends and a scoundrel to everyone else, probably. Okay, now, good news is we'll get some decent loot in this place. Bad news is I don't have Uthgard with me, and Mercer is a wet sock. He is used damp toilet paper, is about all he's good for. He's weak as well water, even though he talks a lot of smack and seems to think that he's epic and legendary. He's garbage. Can't fight worth a crap, and he's really, really soft. And he's... I need a tank in here.
It's like Karliah reset all of the traps.
We're going to find at this level now that just about everything in here is either a Scourge or a Death Lord, or better. Or an over Death Lord, or Uber Cyborg Death Hell Lord, or some, you know, whatever fancy, funky names they come up with, this really overpowered Draugr in here. That's what we're going to be facing here. And you'll also notice I really haven't upgraded my gear in a while. I'm still running around with this weak sauce stuff, so I think this might be a good inclination that maybe I need to go do something about that. Maybe go craft a new set. I was kind of hoping to wait till I could just double enchant some stuff, but I could probably at least make a new set of weapons. I can make iron swords anytime I want to, and I have... Oh, I probably have a half dozen longbows now in reserve, so... Alright, but the Scourges and the Death Lord, they know the same shouts I do. You think you have a lot of fun on those cliffs and stuff, Fusro dying your goats and Lydia and stuff off of mountains. Well, they can do the same damn thing. They know the old Fusro Da and a few other things. They're really bad about that stupid disarm shout, too. They like to knock your sword out of your hand. And it's usually when it's your favorite sword, like something irreplaceable, like the Ebony Blade or something. Oh yeah, they'll knock it out of your hand and it'll go flying across the room, bounce off all the walls, and wind up glitched under the floor or something where you can never get it back. Yeah, totally not cool. So, anyway. We'll deal with it somehow. Yeah, everything in here can one-shot me. At least all the two-handers, which most everything in here is going to be a two-hander. We might find one with a... Well, anybody with a bow is going to one-shot me, too. From Scourge on up, the amount of damage that they're buffed with, they can one-shot me. I can't really do anything about that right now. It'll eventually get to the point where I can at least take one shot from them, but I'm not quite there yet. So here's the problem. I don't have a tank to draw their attention. As soon as they're focused on me, they can one-shot me. This guy probably can't. This guy probably has to hit me twice. The one with the sword and the shield. But, anybody that has like an axe or a warhammer or two-handed sword, great sword in their hand or something like that, they're gonna one-shot me. It's just a given. And that makes it pretty treacherous because I can't trust Mercer to hold any threat for any period of time. He goes down really, really fast. He's really squishy. Like I say, he talks a lot of smack, but he's really garbage. So I had to find a workaround. Oh, and on top of that, during the last fight, we're going to run into this gauntlet of a lot of Death Lords. In fact, those of you that aren't really familiar with this particular quest here, I'd say this turns out to be one of the harder ones in just the sheer number of enemies in an enclosed space. High-powered enemies that can one-shot you that take a lot of damage to kill. And there's like... well, there's a lot of them, you'll see. Anyway, in the last fight, I lost a clip in here somewhere. You know, being the true professional that I am, right? A real professional YouTuber. It's just gone. And all it really involves is basically killing one of the Scourge that is accompanying the last boss in this area. We do get to kill the final boss. I do have that, but I'm missing a clip or two in the middle there, and it's gone, and I can't find it. I don't know if I inadvertently deleted it or something, but anyway, it's gone. The same thing happened when I did Dragon Age Origins. It was during a key part in the Circle Tower, and a clip just I don't know where it went. I mean, I know I recorded it. I mean, it was right in the middle of, you know, playing, but it was just gone. Don't ask me. I don't know. I'm no computer genius. I'm sure it was some error on my part. I just don't know exactly what. Anyway, I did go look, tried to find it, and I couldn't retrieve it. It's just nowhere to be found. So I can only assume I clipped it out and deleted more than I should have, or I don't know. Don't ask me. And we don't miss anything epic. It's just annoying that I like continuity in the game, continuity. And, yeah. Alright, so the one good thing about having all these stupid Death Lords and stuff is sometimes they carry ebony stuff. When you start getting up into Death Lords, the gear usually goes with it. Don't know that I've ever seen them with Daedric stuff, but there will be a point in some of these Draugr caves where the chests will be holding Daedric stuff. Like, if you go find a Daedric greatsword, that thing liable to be worth anywhere from 3 to like 8 grand, depending on the enchantment that's on it. I mean, it's nice. I think a basic ebony sword or greatsword is worth, I don't know, 1,500, 2,000 just by itself, without anything on it. And then you throw something really sexy on it, like absorb health, turn undead, paralyze is a really valuable one. Even a simple petty soul gem enchantment on that thing, and you add, I don't know, 500, 1,000 gold to its value. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice when you start finding that stuff. Also, there is making that stuff to consider. I'm not going to throw the points into smithing, right? Because, like I say, I'm sticking strictly to the iron stuff. I was considering putting 2 points into it so I could smith magic stuff, but I just plan on doing my smithing before I enchant anything, so I'm not worried about it. And I'm not using anything that I'm not making, so there's really no point in worrying about upgrading magical gear. I'll be using my own things. Like now, I'm not going to be finding iron stuff unless I go back to a beginning level area and kill some bandits or something. Like I do randomly run into, you know, maybe an iron weapon here and there, and a longbows especially. It's about the only way to get longbows. So I don't think that's one item I don't think you can make in the game. I believe you can make a hunting bow, which stat-wise is the same. But longbow is considered like the absolute base bow in the game. So that's why I decided to stick with that. And so it is nice to be able to find some of those lower level enemies to grab those every once in a while. But the iron swords or even iron war axes or whatever I decide to use, I can make those myself. That is not a problem. There will never be a shortage of that.
Your feeble attempt to hide is insulting.
Yeah, so sorry guys if it seems a little skittish playing with these guys. It's just keeping in mind that other than maybe the basic Draugrs and the 1 or 2 lower level ones we find in here, for the most part, it's going to be Scourges and Death Lords or better. And so, yeah, I'll be steering clear. I'll let Mercer basically draw their attention and then go find a place to hide. Sort of soften them up with some mark for death and then try to kite them down hallways. There'll be some kiting here. This is definitely this is like going into an instance or a dungeon in an MMO without a tank. It's basically what I'm running here. This is yeah, this is that type of thing. I know this is a bit random, but hey, we're just in here just fighting endless waves of Draugr and stuff. Find something to talk about. Is recently our channel here passed 2,000 viewers, and I seriously cannot stand the word subscribers. Try to use that as little as possible, if not at all, because that seems to I don't know, what's commercialize viewers or something. And I keep in mind this is that, okay, my dream, and to say that I don't care whether my channel succeeds, that would be an absolute lie. I would love, that's a dream I have, is for the channel to succeed, but the channel to succeed for the right reasons. In terms of, if you guys enjoy hanging out and coming to watch, I like having you here. Whether the views are 80 or 800,000 or whatever, well, I'll never see those kind of numbers, but I mean, that's not the point. Sure, it's important to a point, but that's not the focus. I mean, that's great. What that tells me is not, oh, look, I got more views, so now I'm popular type. It's that when you guys are watching, it's that shows that you're interested in it. That in and of itself. As far as the channel eventually supporting itself, well, of course, I'd love to have that. I put a lot of work into this. All right, so that's fair as far as that goes, but that's not the focus here, you know? But anyway, just noticed that the channel passed 2,000 subscribers, and that to me seems like a lot. I could easily compare to other channels and say, well, these guys with 200,000 or 500,000 or 5 million and stuff, like, you know, got the guys that are, you know, really just coming up, like, you have Markiplier and some of these other guys, and a few other guys who, and this does give me a little bit of encouragement, run similar channels to what we do here. Kind of similar, you know, same style of, you know, walkthroughs, playthroughs, and stuff like that. They're popular and they're successful, and they're not so different that I can't sit there and look at their model, how they modeled their channels and how they do their thing, and say, well, that's encouraging. That gives me a little hope for this channel. But it's just going to take time, you know, and not rushing it, not saying, hey, I want you guys here for your views. No, I want you guys here to enjoy. Now, if you enjoy something, you'll probably watch it, so I guess that'll go hand in hand. But the main thing is that this is something you can come and feel comfortable hanging out and doing and sharing the passion for the game. Not wanting to lose that. I can honestly say, I guess I can see where some of the guys fall into that rut of, I guess especially once their channel starts to succeed and support itself to some point, and then I guess maybe a little greed or a little enthusiasm sets in more for the material side of it rather than the love of the game. And I you know, this came up in you know, in some comments with a couple of you guys, you know, talking about some of the other channels and how they seem to have sold out for the, you know, I would call it view begging, kind of like, you know, the commercials where they want you to send some money to support random anonymous children overseas, and they have some poor kid who's obviously starving. And I remember a comedian made a joke about it. He holds a sandwich up next to the camera to get a pouty face out of the kid so he can get that sad look to beg for money and stuff. And that's what comes to mind when I see and hear the view begging and stuff and that. And I'm like, you know, if your channel is popular and you're doing things for the right reason, if you're sharing your love for what you do, and for whatever work you do, yeah, fine, you should have success with that. You should get, I guess, in a sense, paid for it, because you're putting in the hours and stuff. And I think people who are being entertained are happy to support that entertainer so that they continue to entertain, you know, consistently, like what they're doing. I mean, that okay, that's the obvious. But when you lose focus of it, the people themselves being the reason that you're successful, they're not to be used for views. These are people with lives, families, kids, or, you know, going to school, going to college, and they may only have a few free hours. And if you guys stop and take a, you know, I don't know, you got a little time between getting off of school and before dinner's ready, and then after that you got schoolwork and whatever else, maybe a part-time job, and then you got to go to sleep and get back up and do the grind again. If you take half an hour out of your day to watch a video here and hang out and share a comment on a game, you know, you want to be like, oh, hey, I found this over here, or hey, oh, I didn't know that was there, or oh, hey, I like your build, or, you know, if I were going to build that, this is what I would do. You know, all you guys that leave stuff like that not only ask questions and leave some thanks, but give some stuff to be thankful for. You know, some of the stuff you guys share, it's awesome. Things that I never even knew, and I played some of these games. I put thousands of hours into some of these games on different consoles, and still didn't know some of the stuff you guys will share down there. And, you know, when you take your time out to come in and do that, that says a lot. That goes beyond just views or count or whatever. That tells me that you are invested enough in the content here, and invested enough in the games we cover here, which is really where it all comes from, right? It's all about the games. That you felt it worthy to spend some of your valuable time here. I have to remember that. That's kind of big. That's not a small thing. It may seem small on your guys' part. From a day-to-day, you're just doing your thing, you stop in to watch a video. But you can't make light of the fact that you're still spending your time here. And so I'm going to choose to remember that and keep that in mind. It's humbling, you know. I think once celebrity status kicks in with some of the major YouTubers who, I don't know if they're on par with, say, Hollywood actors and some of your, you know, like Capitol Records and RCA musicians and stuff like that, right? Maybe not that kind of celebrity when you think, or, you know, super sports athletes or whatever, but YouTube personalities are watched enough by millions and sometimes even billions of people on a daily basis where there's some celebrity factor. And I think when that steps in, perhaps there's something that kind of clicks in the mind is, you know, once you get a little taste of it, you just want more, and then that blinds you to everything else. And, you know, I get it. I mean, it's understandable. I don't ever want to do that. Not that I would ever. Not, you know, this channel may never happen like that. It's a dream that it does, but without all the other stuff on my part. And that's what I really personally want to avoid. Anyway, I appreciate you guys bringing that topic up. And, you know, sharing your thoughts on that a little bit. And this isn't about name blasting or saying, well, this channel does this and that channel does it. It's not even about that, because they're going to do what they do. And the ones that are popular, you know what? Regardless of how they carry out their popularity now, they still earn that. I mean, some of these guys have been doing this day in and day out for years. You know, like 6, 8 since YouTube's been around. Look at PewDiePie, and he's he's still going strong. He's still doing his thing. And I think he kind of likes what he does, but the popularity he has, that's crazy. That is celebrity status there. I guess he would be the granddaddy of all the gaming YouTubers, right? You know? I guess he could be considered that. I would think so, given the respect that he's due. But imagine the hours. Like, for every, I don't know, hour video you put up, sometimes, depending on how you do it and what you're doing, you may have 6, 8 hours of recording and editing that go in. Sometimes not. Sometimes they're quickies. Sometimes the clips are kind of self-explanatory, and you can just kind of edit them a little bit and throw them up there and slap your name on them, and there you go. You have a video. But other ones require some work. And I've had some 16, 18, 20-hour days in there, and not getting paid for it, you know, yet. So anyway, on the flip side of that, to be fair, I would say that, yeah, I'd love this channel to be popular one day. Don't really know what more I could do to get it to that point. I don't think it's a matter of me manipulating my audience to entice them commercially to fund or support the channel or do anything more than what you guys are doing. Watch because you want to. And if it's good enough, it'll support itself. That's my view. And I think that'll play out if I'm just patient with it here. So yeah, channel success, it's important. I've been told, I've seen comments where, hey, I like your YouTube channel because you don't care about views. And on one hand, I take that as a major compliment. And I thank any of you guys who have said that or think that. That's amazing. Because I'm really glad you view me that way. That's very complimentary. That's flattering, right, on your part towards myself. But on the flip side of that, I can't claim that to be 100% true, because it is important. It does tell me at least that it's being watched. When I see people doing like videos like mine and they have 200,000 views in the first couple days, doing very similar material maybe, right? And then I see my video has maybe 200 views a month later and stuff. And it's easy to fall into that rut of, well, what am I doing wrong type thing? You know, like, I mean, sure enough, this guy's popular, and I'm glad for him. I'm glad. I'm not going to hate on another YouTube channel. Just the opposite. I'm glad he does that. There should be content for everybody to enjoy, you know, of different types, so that, you know, you're not stuck in just one rut. And you have a lot of unique, creative creators on YouTube that do their different stuff. But, you know, sometimes it's, I don't know, maybe there's sometimes just a little envy there. It's like, wow, I wonder what that's like to get that kind of response to something you do. It's to be like an artist. You paint and you paint and you paint, and you look at the starving artists, some who are so ridiculously talented that it's not even funny, and they die broke, and they may get popular later. Well, it doesn't do them a shit of good. I mean, that's, you know, who cares if you're famous after you're dead, as far as the person who's, you know, practicing his craft, sharing his art, sharing his skill. Doesn't do him a bit of good to be famous, you know, 50 years posthumously, you know. Be nice for them to get a taste of that and get some rewards for their labor while they're still around type thing. So there is some of that. Absolutely. I'd be lying to say that's not there. Not so much from a financial part of it, but it's a symbol of appreciation. It's a symbol of, okay, you did this and people responded and they liked it, you know. Because, I mean, why would you sit there and spend 8, 10, 12 hours a day doing something that, you know, to share with people that they don't like it? And I mean, that doesn't make sense. So, I mean, you got to have some of that in there, but keeping it in perspective. And so that's something I don't really ever want to lose. And it's cool to stop and think about it now, to be forewarned is to be forearmed, you know, to know that that would be easy. It would be easy to fall into that, especially when you're not really thinking and you're watching the numbers and you watch views go up and you watch popularity go up, and then all of a sudden, you know, the financial part of it maybe plays in. And all I'm going to say is if this channel, I would even consider 2,000 people viewing. I consider that kind of popular. I'm thinking that's kind of cool, you know, honestly. Pat myself on the back a little bit type of thing, and you guys too. Pat all of you on the back, because y'all have hung with it, and a lot of you have been around since we started this, you know. But if it gets to the point later, years from now, where we are popular and there's a lot of people. There's a lot of people in the world, right? And just a very small fraction of that watching your channel is still a lot of people. Just think 1/100th of 1/100th of 1,000th of 1% of all the people in the world would still make you a really popular channel, you know? If it ever got to that point, I would look back and I'd say, you know, if it ever does, I would have to look back at the years put into it and the ridiculous work hours sometimes put into producing the videos and doing all that stuff and learning editing, starting from scratch, being an absolute computer noob like I was and still am. All that is that, you know, if you do eventually get some recompense for that, well, you know, damn it, you earned it. Anytime you put that kind of work into something, at some point you should get paid, you know. Any kind of effort you put towards anything, at some point you should get some kind of you know, rewards for your labor. I'm a strong believer in that. That's for anybody. So anyway, I don't know, just kind of throwing that around. But I just, you know, make the long thing short is just thank you guys, because that's just, I don't know, seems like a lot of people, and I don't know if it's in a short time or a long time or whatever, but it is what it is, and I'd say it's right where it needs to be, you know. And just go with that. Another thing I've noticed in our short history here is that overall, if you look through the comment sections, there's been a lot of knowledgeable stuff. Not a lot of mindless, off-topic nonsense and fluff in the comments, and I mean, that's cool too. People just coming in to hang out and they see somebody they know and they start jibbing at one another and then just go on about their business, and you know, you have that, and I mean, that's all cool. But for the most part, I've noticed when you guys drop in, it's to talk about the game, even see one of y'all say hi to one another type of thing. It's always been really really respectful, really intelligent, really thoughtful stuff that you guys say sometimes. Sometimes it's really nice stuff. And not a lot of trolling, not a lot of BS, not a lot of hate stuff, not a lot of troll baiting, you know. There hasn't been. There really hasn't been, and I think that's awesome too. That says a lot about the character of the viewers here, I think. And so, you know, I'm just going to take it that way anyway, because it's complimentary to all of you guys. It really is. Alright, so enough about that. Anyway, alright, so here's where it starts. Here's where it really starts. Up to this point, we've run into some Draugr and blah, blah, blah. A couple high-level ones, not a real big deal. But this is essentially...
Noisy for someone who claims to be a thief.
Shut up, Mercer. This is a corridor here that basically is filled with Draugr Deathlords. And I'm really not exaggerating. And after one epic fail, I realized about the only solution here, considering I've got a 100 shot all of these, and every single enemy you see standing there can one-shot me. Alright? From Scourges to Deathlords. So, we're gonna do this. We're gonna kite them back into this little corridor here, where I can bait them along, bring them back to where I can soften them up with some Mark for Deaths and throw up some summons, and basically keep them up off me, because I can't hold the threat. I can't take but one hit from any of these guys here, and it's yeah, it's just not fair. So if this seems like I say, a little timid, yeah, well, yeah, call it what you want. Mercer can't hold the threat from these guys, and I can't take any hits from them, so I had to think of something fast, and this was my only solution here. And as soon as my summons goes down, I gotta go. Yeah, I can't let this dude come up and slap me around with his sword or whatever. Yeah, I can do that too, asshole. I just did that out of spite, frustration, because not a whole lot I can deal with these guys. But since they've been softened up a little bit, my little longbow and my iron arrows, they can do a little work. I really don't need this guy hitting me. Alright, that's one down. Only about 100 to go now. And this was just those first few little coffin things, right? There's like a whole hallway full of this crap. It's really pretty amazing. I'm like, I do not remember it being this brutal. Because that's really asking a lot. It really, really is. You know, you got to take a major sacrifice in damage to wear the Talos necklace. But reducing your shout time by 20% is actually huge. It's almost worth it. Now, true enough, when you can dual enchant and you can throw like extra archery and one-handed damage on one piece of jewelry, look at these assholes here with their, and they can use my shouts. That's not cool. Those are my shouts. You need to stop that. But yeah, it's honestly almost worth it to sacrifice that damage. But Mark for Death, you really don't need to use it that much anyway, because really you got to let it sink in. So that's my primary shout. Not a big deal. But sometimes it'd be nice to have it cool down just a little bit faster. Get off me. Alright, so the next, I don't know, 15 minutes or so is just going to be a lot of this. I'm telling you the truth, guys. I really don't have any choice. I don't see any other way around this but to bring these guys out, let me thin them out a little bit. Once you get through the loading screen, through the door, it takes a second for them to catch up, and it gives you a minute to get down the hall. And if I didn't have Mercer here, if I was solo, which it's impossible not to come with Mercer, but I might as well not have him anyway, honestly. I'd be just as well off with him not being here. He's totally useless in a fight. On lower difficulties, he's probably pretty stout, because, say if you do this earlier in the game, he's still going to have that Dwarven Sword, which would be considered a, you know, a top-tier item. Say around, I don't know, level 15 or so, you know, something. We're doing this much later. That's why they're all Death Lords down here, and we're not just running into a bunch of just normal Draugr. That is a huge part of the problem. Even at a much lower level, if these were all just basic Draugr, wouldn't be that big of a deal. Mercer could hold them long enough. They wouldn't be doing the kind of damage that is knocking Mercer down almost instantly. Look at this, and there's just a whole nother slew of them down here. It's crazy. Then they're having a shout fest, and Mercer's down almost instantly, so it's just another round of kiting them back down the hallway. Okay, you really need to chill on that shouting, dude. Yeah, about the second round of this, my eyes got big, and I'm like, are you serious? It's nothing but Death Lords? Really? I'm getting stuck. Where is the... Shit! I'm glad he didn't have a two-hander. Or does he? Did I actually take a hit? I did. I took a hit. Probably because he's using just an old Nord sword. If he'd hit me with a critical there, I'd probably be dead, though. Well, I certainly wasn't going to take two of those. That's guaranteed. Usually when you see a Death Lord, you can expect an ebony weapon. Most of the time. Freaking shout fest. They're mad at me. Start getting all pouty. Make them stop yelling at me. Tell you what, if I have to kite them all the way up here, I'm just going to jump back off the ledge and make them walk around. That's one thing I noticed is the NPCs normally will not jump off ledges to follow you. Most of the time they won't. Well, that's one down. Okay, where's their cooldown on their shouts? Okay, so they can spam their shit? I mean, seriously? Yeah, my shout doesn't cool down that fast. They're all wearing amulets of Talos, apparently. Well, it's nice to know they were all worshippers of Talos before they died. Bastards. Okay, they're using the Nord swords there. Okay, still, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to stand there in a toe-to-toe fight with these guys. That's not going to happen. Whether they got ebony weapons or not. You're not just going to sit there and just duke it out. Yeah, see, Mercer's down already. I like seeing him get knocked down a lot. He really has that coming. Sometimes I may even be prone to chunk a few arrows into him myself. Got to be kidding, man. Wow. Alright, that was, what, round 2? Round 3? I don't even know. Can't even keep track. There's still more to come. That wasn't the end of them. That was like just the first little part of the hallway. I think where I lost the clip was, when I got to the end boss. I basically had to kite him back here because he was surrounded by a Scourge or two. Maybe a Scourge and a Death Lord, and he's like an over Death Lord or something. He's like a special Death Lord version. And see, we still got some here. Look at this crowd. This is ridiculous.
What was that?
Wouldn't doubt there's some on the other side behind me too. Yep, there we go. This is crazy. Glad I have a lot of arrows.
Out of my way.
And Mercer's down again. Time to go. Again.
This will be my triumph.
Yeah, soften them all up. Mercer can get a taste of that too. I don't care. He's staying down anyway, and I think he's a necessary NPC, so I don't think he can die. Got to be kidding. Well, this isn't running like a coward. This is what would you call strategic retreat? Strategic repositioning. That's what this is. Oh, so sad, man. So sad. Okay, these are the last of the Death Lords, at least in that first hallway. And then there's some more of this crap in the last room. Anyway, running from them, apparently somewhere between leaving the door and going back through again, I lost a clip, and I think that's where the mistake happened. I don't know. But it does kind of get to the point where how much more of this can you take anyway? And that's what I'm talking about. They all need to have soul gems, full soul gems and stuff like that. Take that. Alright, back again. I think we've got it cleared out for the time being. Yeah, isn't this ridiculous? Deathlords are really the only step down from like a Dragon Priest. You know, of course, Dragon Priests are a whole nother thing altogether, but that's about the only thing above these guys. Deathlords are overlords. There's not a whole lot of difference in those. I think the Overlords can use more different shouts. I think they have several shouts in their arsenal. I think this is it. I think this was the last time I kited one of those scourges out. I believe that was it. Just one scourge that was accompanying them. Maybe it was a Deathlord too. Anyway, so notice the door's already open. So the boss over Deathlord or whatever is up here. And we'd already worked on him a little bit. I probably only just hit him with Mark for Death, and that was about it. That's all we've seen. And there's actually a few more Draugr in here that'll pop out of these caskets on the side. But look at that. I think he just hit him with an ice shout. Which actually sounded really cool, if you ask me. I mean, that sounded pretty cool. So, here we go. Look at the damage he's taking. He's already been softened up. Yeah, he's been softened up once with Mark for Death. Hit him again with it. Not even trying to hear it. Now iron arrows are doing 50 times damage. You know, something ridiculous like that. But yeah, this guy was no joke, man. He had several shouts at his disposal. There's that ebony sword I was talking about, too. That's going to sell for a pretty penny. Yeah, these are just rust. Okay, this guy's no big deal. I could go toe-to-toe with these guys, though. Not a problem. Oh, don't just stud up now, Mercer, like you're a badass. Weren't studding up a minute ago when they were one-shotting you. Pussy. Apparently I've already read that skill book too. That's nice. So, one solid series of power attacks can now take out a normal Draugr. One-shotting him, essentially, so that's a good sign. Once I can one-shot a Restless, I would say, then you know you're doing some decent damage. On Legendary, when you can get a Restless down with one good series of power attacks, that's not bad. We're almost there. Not too far. The gear enchantments are going to make a huge difference once we get everything set up. Once again, I need to go map that out again. Just go look at what gear takes what enchantments and figure out how I'm going to combine the two. But I'm going to maximize the one-handed and the archery. Anything I can put that on, it's going on. Then after that, I'll worry about defense or any other kind of buffs. Secondary. Okay, now look at this. Watch this.
Ah, it's one of the infamous Nordic puzzle doors. How quaint. Without the matching claw, they're normally impossible to open. Since I'm certain Karliah already did away with it, we're on our own. Fortunately, these doors have a weakness if you know how to exploit it. Quite simple, really. Karliah is close, I'm certain of it. Now let's get moving.
Puff yourself up, making yourself look like you can do the impossible and shit with your cheat tricks. Bullshit. Yeah, they are actually impenetrable without the claw. Unless you're doing something shiesty. We'll find out later.
Do you honestly think your arrow will reach me before my blade finds your heart?
Give me a reason to try.
You're a clever girl, Karliah. Buying Golden Glow Estate and funding Honningbrew Meadery was inspired.
To ensure an enemy's defeat, you must first undermine his allies. It was the first lesson Gallus taught us.
You always were a quick study.
Not quick enough, otherwise Gallus would still be alive.
Gallus had his wealth and he had you. All he had to do was look the other way.
Did you forget the oath we took as Nightingales? Did you expect him to simply ignore your methods?
Enough of this mindless banter. Come, Karliah. It's time for you and Gallus to become reunited.
I'm no fool, Mercer. Crossing blades with you would be a death sentence. But I can promise the next time we meet, it will be your undoing.
And so the plot sickens.
How interesting. It appears Gallus's history has repeated itself. Karliah has provided me the means to be rid of you, and this ancient tomb becomes your final resting place. But do you know what intrigues me the most? The fact that this was all possible because of you. Farewell. I'll be certain to give Brynjolf your regards.
You know, you better hope I don't get up for this, dude. This isn't going to end well for you. I'll be back. I'll be back, bitch.
Easy. Easy. Don't get up so quickly. How are you feeling? No, I saved your life. My arrow was tipped with a unique paralytic poison. It slowed your heart and kept you from bleeding out. Had I intended to kill you, we wouldn't be having this conversation. My original intention was to use that arrow on Mercer, but I never had a clear shot. I made a split-second decision to get you out of the way, and it prevented your death.
Thanks, I guess.
I promise
Sort of.
you, the thought crossed my mind. The poison on that arrow took me a year to perfect. I only had enough for a single shot. All I had hoped was to capture Mercer alive. Mercer must be brought before the Guild to answer for what he's done. He needs to pay for Gallus's murder. My purpose in using Snow Veil Sanctum to ambush Mercer wasn't simply for irony's sake. Before both of you arrived, I recovered a journal from Gallus's remains. I suspect the information we need is written inside. I wish I knew. The journal is written in some sort of language I've never seen before. Enther. Gallus's friend at the College of Winterhold. Of course. It's the only outsider Gallus trusted with the knowledge of his Nightingale identity. There were 3 of us. Myself, Gallus, and Mercer. We were an anonymous splinter of the Thieves Guild in Riften. Perhaps I'll tell you more about it later. Right now, you need to head for Winterhold with the journal and get the translation. Here, take these as well. They may prove useful for your journey.
Alright, so we're going to go eventually take some vengeance on Mercer Frey. Not just for my sake, but he killed Karliah's horse. Didn't let it go, didn't steal it, he killed it.
To lay to rest.
Bastard.
I promise to join you there as soon as I can. He was a scholar, a master thief, and a natural leader. Everyone respected him and followed him without question. It was Gallus who inducted me into the Nightingales and honed my skills to a razor-sharp point. I owe everything to him. We were very close. Gallus once said he felt comfortable around me, able to let his guard down. I can't help but think that I'm responsible for what happened to him. Mercer lied to the Guild, branded me a murderer, and slandered my name across his network of contacts. For 25 years I ran, never sleeping in the same place twice and carefully covering my tracks. Mercer doesn't need to die. He needs to feel the cold sting of fate as his life crumbles in front of him and he's hunted by the Guild. I can promise you if it comes to that, and my back's to the wall, I won't hesitate. Remember, speak only to Enther. trust no one else.
Alright. Yeah, see? Killed her horse. Yeah. It's almost worse than all the rest of it. Bastard. Get him for that. Alright, guys. So we'll make our way to Winterhold on the next one. Probably be a pretty short one, but we need to get there and talk to that dude about a translation and see where we need to go from there. Alright, thanks again for watching, and thanks again for being part of this. Alright, want to subscribe if you haven't already. Click that button up top, and if you want to catch the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, click that image in the middle, and it probably takes you to the playlist. At least we hope it will. Alright, y'all take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.